welcome to a new episode of the Woollentwine Fibrestudio knitting podcast. My name is Jule and I'm the dyer and maker behind Woollentwine Fibrestudio, which is a small creative space located here in northern Germany where I play with botanical dyes and natural yarns. Welcome to a new episode. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. And if you're new here, I'm glad you found your way into my little corner of the internet where I share everything about knitting with natural yarns and natural dyeing and just in general the projects that I'm interested in with my craft. So I'm so happy you're here. I am currently filming on a new camera setup and I really hope that this is going to be pleasant for you and that the whole new setup is going to work well. Let me know what you think in the comments down below if you like. But other than that, I just wanted to update you on what I've been knitting lately. In case I sound a little bit sniffly, I'm still nursing my strange kind of end of winter cold that just doesn't seem to be going away fully. So apologies for that. But other than that, I just wanted to share some projects with you. First of all, I should maybe say what I'm wearing. I'm wearing my folklore cardigan by Amy Gunderson, which is a beautiful all-over cabled kind of pullover cardigan with some buttons and a very beautiful setup. In general, I'm sorry if you could see my mic here. But yeah, this is a very recent finished object that I also share more about in, I believe, the last episode. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll make sure to link it somewhere so you can see it in all its glory. And yeah, but this is a very well-worn finished object. I've been wearing this a ton over the past weeks. It's just lovely. I just love to wear it. It's very nice layering piece and very oversized and boxy, so it's very easy to also wear over dresses, even though like sometimes I have dresses with long sleeves, it still fits, so that's very nice. And I've been getting a lot of wear out of it so far, so definitely recommending that one. It also was extremely fun to knit if you don't mind seaming, because yeah, this is knit in pieces and then seamed. But as I mentioned in previous podcast episodes, for me, that actually is something very nice because oftentimes I have the issue that, I'm traveling back and forth to the studio and I often take my knitting because, sometimes I just have to wait for a parcel pickup or I'm in a little bit of a rush with sample knitting. And in that case, I really like to have my knitting with me at the studio. And so sometimes, as it is with my one current work in progress that I'm working on, it's very hard to travel back and forth with really big projects. And so I really enjoyed having this one in pieces. And, even though at some point, of course, the back piece got quite large as well. But for the most part, I was able to carry the piece that I was currently knitting on with me. And that was quite nice. I should also mention, if you're watching this like kind of close to the release date, we are having the very last batch of this yarn currently in the shop. This is Pathway DK, which is a fully traceable back to farm limited edition yarn that we released in January, I believe, the first time. And now we have the last batch as of beginning of March 2025 that's currently in the shop, and I'll make sure to link it somewhere just in case you're curious, because once it's gone we will not be able to restock this yarn, which I'm already kind of sad about because I really liked it. And now having worn it for a while, I believe that this is one of the yarns that holds its shape the best way without being stiff. Sometimes you kind of have to compromise, I feel, if you want something that's going to be like very not drapey, but kind of holding its shape well without losing too much drape and being too stiff in a sense. And so, yeah, with this one, I was apparently very happy that it's so, while it's still drapey and nice to wear, not a stiff fabric, it still holds up its shape so nicely. So yeah, kind of sad to have it seeing it going. But yeah, if you're watching this kind of close to when I upload this, so kind of early March 2025, we still have a lot of dyed colorways of this one left, and also some of the undyed, which is what I used for this very classic vintage vibe kind of cardigan. So if you're up for something like that, you can check the shop now. And enough of yarn talk. I guess let's just start showing you some of my projects. Starting off with one of my recently finished projects that I apparently have, I think, finished a couple of weeks ago, but for the last episode I apparently forgot to share. So yeah, sometimes things just happen. I forgot it at home and I didn't share it. So well, I can do that now. So this one is my Midland cardigan by Laura Penrose. And it has been a test knit for Laura. And I participated in test knitting this one. And I knitted this in our Shetland Romney DK in the undyed oatmeal colorway. Which is just lovely, and it's, you know, kind of a beautiful texture all over garter stitch and with a very clever construction, I will say. So how this cardigan works construction wise is that you actually cast on one of the sides, and then you knit your way to the middle, then you do like the shaping for the fronts, and then you pick up on the back again and knit further to the sides. So yeah, and then you pick up for the sleeves and knit the sleeves, and it's actually like a really interesting pattern, I feel. It also has these, I don't know if I can show that properly somehow. It has these faux seams running down the sleeves and also up to the neck opening, and that's also very beautiful detail, not only visibly but also because it helps with the integrity of the whole piece, which also the double knitted button band does. So yeah, this is how it turned out. I'm super happy with it. And I hope to also include a little bit of footage of me wearing this, but the fit in general is quite boxy again, as I like, and relatively wide. So I went for, I believe, size 4 or 5, but I made a little adjustment because there is the option, if you do the seamed version, there are several options in the pattern, but if you do the seamed version, you can apparently adjust the depth of your armhole, and that was actually quite nice for me because some other yarn dyers might be able to relate, but yeah, yarn dyeing is a pretty intense job when it comes to the muscles in your arms because you have wet yarn everywhere, and yarn that's wet, I mean, we all know that wool can absorb, I think, up to 2/3, don't quote me on that, but a lot of moisture. And so if you have 100-gram skein of yarn and that's full of water, then you can imagine it's very heavy. And I process several kilos of yarn every day, and so it's a lot of like squeezing, lifting, also lifting buckets of water, and you know, long story short, my biceps is relatively wide in comparison to my chest circumference, just because I have quite a strong like biceps. That sounds really weird, but you know what I mean. And so sometimes to achieve the same, like in proportion to achieve the same positive ease on a sleeve in comparison to my chest circumference, that's not necessarily the case with sizing and patterns. So that's also why I like to go more oversized most of the time. But with this pattern, it was actually quite awesome because I could just, you know, the side seam could be closed however far I would have needed. And then I could just add in the right sized sleeve. And so I think I made a size 7 sleeve. and combined it with my size 5 body, and this is fitting beautifully. And I just thought it's so genius. Like, I bet this is kind of more of a niche problem, but yeah, fit-wise, it really benefited it for me, and I'm quite happy. So yeah, everything is very well written in the pattern. I can wholeheartedly recommend. And I think if you saw, I think 1 or 2 episodes back, we were talking about the potential buttons on this, and I went with the metal ones like most of you suggested. So yeah, listen to you and put the metal buttons on there. These buttons are from Merchant & Mills, and they are these beautiful dark brass buttons that I really like. So yeah, that is my Midland cardigan, and I'm incredibly happy with it. As mentioned, I used our Shetland Romney DK for it. It's currently not in stock. I hope to have a respin by the end of the year. However, currently there is a big, I don't know, the demand for Romney fleeces seemed to have increased significantly ever since I created this yarn initially. And so currently it's quite hard to get hold of Romney fleeces. And so I had to wait. I have kind of like plans on when to spin which yarn. And I had initially planned to bring it back this spring already. But yeah, due to the shortage of the fleeces, I cannot. And so it's gonna be back later this year, I hope. But yeah, so far about my Midland cardigan. I'm super happy with it, and it's gonna get a lot of wear. Although it's currently getting a little bit warmer outside, so I don't know. Maybe it's a bit because it's relatively heavy, the DK weight fabric in the garter stitch. So yeah, I don't know. I will have to make sure that I'll get some wear out of it before it gets too warm. Next, it's really funny, now that I look at it, it's actually, there are a lot of cardigans going on at the moment for me. So the next finished object I wanted to share is you might have seen this one in the preview video recently, but this is my Margaux cardigan by Simone of Rust Knitwear, and it's one of my favorite recent finished objects. I'm wearing this one almost daily at the studio at the moment, just because it's so nicely fitting. I'll also include some wearing pics of me having this on, but in general, I'm getting so much wear out of this. It's just beautiful. It features this very sweet, how can I show this the best way? It features this very sweet lateral braid detail. Is it focusing? Oh yeah, here we go. A lateral braid detail on the hem and also on the cuffs of the cardigan, and also on the sleeve openings, which is just very cute, I think. And yeah, overall, this pattern is extremely well thought through. From the beginning you start knitting this to the end, every detail is very thought through. And while it's not looking like a super statement piece, difficult thing, I just absolutely love when designers do the effort to have a fairly minimalistic pattern, but adding all of these little details that just make it so, I don't know, perfect and polished kinda. So that's definitely what happened with this one. It has a very cool construction as well. So you technically, you cast on, I might have shown this in the preview already, but I wanted to mention it again because it's so genius. So you cast on and knit this little piece here. You knit a tube, or actually 2 of those, the length of the shoulder width. And then you actually pick up on both sides of these little tubes for the front and back pieces as you knit along. And the result is that the shoulder seam pretty much looks like the pattern looks, you know, with the kind of broken rib pattern there. And I just, you know, I think it's just genius. And it just looks so polished as well with the lateral braid details there. And also, I don't know if you can see that here, but the way the increased sections are designed also in the V-neck portion. I don't know if that's visible, but yeah, you can see that it's like flowing very nicely. There is no weird shaping or anything. It's just very sweet. And yeah, I absolutely love it. It's knit in one of my more recent releases. So this is my Nurture base, currently also not in stock because you have completely blown me away by, yeah, with all the support for this yarn base, because yeah, it was gone in under 24 hours, everything I had, and I had quite a bit. So yeah, for this batch, I cannot have it right now, but I have one more batch ready to be dyed for the spring, early summer I plan so far. So yeah, please bear with me, but I'm gonna bring it back. And I used, for my Margaux cardigan, I used the Lakeside colorway, which is this beautiful silvery light gray. And I think it was quite a nice change to the more warmish beige from my Midland cardigan. Wow, a lot of neutrals I see recently. But yeah, this was just so much fun to knit, and it also shows I managed to knit this in about 3 weeks, despite having a relatively large circumference for this, because I wanted it to be like very boxy and easy to wear. So yeah, I think it's almost 700 grams of yarn, but it only took me 3 weeks. One, because I wanted that sample to be finished, of course, but also because it was so engaging to knit. I don't know, it was just super enjoyable. And yeah, I used 2 strands of Nurture, by the way, because Nurture is a fingering weight yarn, and to make up for that and meet the DK weight gauge of the Margaux, I ended up holding a double, and I think I used 4mm needles. So yeah, all the info on that project should also be in my Ravelry project that I'm gonna link also down below, in case you want to reference yarn amounts and all these kind of things. But yeah, I'm extremely happy with this finished object as well. It was just so much fun to knit. And yeah, I'm currently, as said, I'm wearing this almost daily at the studio whenever, you know, my studio days are often a lot of back and forth. So, you know, from dyeing yarn where I move a lot to sitting down and doing some admin. And it's quite practical to have a cardigan to put on and off, because oftentimes I only get cold enough to wear a woolen cardigan inside when I'm sitting down. And then, you know, when I get to the dye pods and I do a lot of physical work, I usually overheat easily, so I take it off again. And it's quite practical this way. And yeah, I'm really happy with how this is going. And yeah, definitely recommending the pattern too, because it's so well written and really well done. Yeah, definitely a wholehearted recommendation of the Margaux cardigan pattern by Rust Knitwear. I think we are done with the finished object section. So let me start sharing my current works in progress with you. So for my current works in progress, I have 2 at the moment. Mainly for that reason that I mentioned in the beginning, that I can't really carry around 2 big projects if I travel back and forth to the studio. And so I'll share my big one with you first, because yeah, it's very big and I don't think I can carry it around any longer. So I'm happy that I have a second one, but it lives in my beautiful Darnina Studio naturally dyed project bag. I think I mentioned Veronica's work. Veronica's the woman behind Darnina Studio. I think I've shared it before, but her work is astonishing, and she makes all kinds of sweet, naturally dyed linen bags, such as this one. I own a few of them, and I just absolutely love the closure mechanism. I just love how it works. And this dark one was a recent purchase that I placed with her because I wanted this. I wanted something that could hold my larger projects as well, and also be, you know, a bit easier for traveling, because, you know, it has a quite dark fabric, and yeah, you might not see stains or something so easily on it. So that's why I also got it. I'm sorry, the mailman is doing some weird things outside, so if you hear any noise, I'm not sure what he's doing there. It seems to be very difficult to deliver my letters. But yeah, my current work in progress that I'm mainly working on is housed in this one. And let me try to get it out. So this is in a slightly weird shape right now, I just realized. But this is my matcha cardigan by my friend Ines of That Knit, and it looks a bit strange right now, I get that. But I'm currently doing the neckline, and this is a test knit for Ines that I'm doing. It should be out at some point, and I'm gonna hope to remember to put the link down below once it's out. But for now, this is a test knit, and I think I showed it in my last episode as well. I think I had done the body and sleeve separation at that point, and now we have additional sleeves on both sides. And the reason why this looks so weird right now is that I just love, I think I mentioned this before, but I just love to have my final try-ons for the length of the whole sweater, you know, in order to determine how long I actually want it. I like to do that with sleeves and with neckline on, because from my experience, I think the fit is just different as if you would just try on the basic piece without sleeves and without the neckline. Just because, especially in this one, you can totally see that the neckline is pulling the opening together a little bit, like to the middle. It's kind of like tightening it up. And I think this is just, you know, not necessarily, would not necessarily look the same if I just tried it on without the neckline. And so, yeah. This is how it's looking so far. Very weird shape, as you can see. But yeah, I just love how it looks so far. And I love the long twisted rib cuff. It's very, very long. It's like 15, 16 centimeters or so. And I just also really enjoy the, I don't know if you can see, but the shaping of the, I don't know if that's actually looking too great right now because it's not blocked, but the lines of the increases are supposed to follow the shape of your body. And I think that's just really genius. And I can't wait to try it on again, because yeah, the first try on I had in order to see if it's like wide enough for my chest circumference was super exciting. So now I can't wait to try it again. And as always with Inesh's patterns, they are super well written and super thought through. It's just the level of detail and work she puts into them is incredible. And there are a ton of modification options, which also right now leads me to my little dilemma that I have, because I hope to finish the neckline very soon. However, there are different options, and I'm really torn between doing a double folded one or a single one and doing like a higher turtleneck. Because I think with how the clean fit of this is going, I think a little bit of a higher neck could be nice, but I'm so torn. So if you have a thought on this or any kind of feeling on how to proceed and how, like, if I should go for a higher neck or for single or folded or whatever, please let me know in the comments below, because I'm just I'm a little bit sad. No, how do you say? I'm a little bit afraid that I might do the wrong choice. I don't know. But yeah, the sleeves are relatively straight. They have only very few decrease rows, as you can see from my little, I don't know if you can see them actually, but my little decrease row markers. There are only 4 or 5 decreases, I believe, in my size. So yeah, that is how it's looking so far. I get a lot of questions about my the little markers and why I do this. And the reason why is that I actually, I don't like to count my decreases in my knitting without a marker. So usually I just, and I also don't like to count on my phone too much. So I usually just do the decreases, and whenever I decrease a row, I add one of those markers, and then I can reference back how many increases or decreases I already did. And so that's a lot easier for me. I use the Merchant & Mills, I believe, locking stitch markers. However, there are a million types of these, like super easy to get, and it should not be a problem. So yeah, those are the little markers. I have them on both sides, and I usually leave them on until the very end, just in case I have to rip back on and change the sleeve length or anything. I still know where my decreases were placed and, you know, in what kind of relation I work on them. But yeah, so far this is my progress on the matcha jumper, and I'm incredibly happy to be in this test knit. It's also a very friendly group of people. So, but yeah, this is how it's looking so far. Let me know what you think about the neckline in the comments below. And then I hope to actually make some good progress on this tonight, and then start working on the body, which is so exciting. So the yarn I'm using for this is currently still secret. But it is supposed to be launching at the end of this month, so at the end of March. So yeah, if you want to stay in the loop about the release of this yarn, you can sign up for my newsletter that I'm also going to be linking, as that's the best way to be informed when I launch or when I upload. Also, speaking of uploads, I know this is kind of like sounding very YouTube-y right now, but it really, really helps if you like and subscribe to my channel. Just because, you know, not only do you get a notification about when I upload a new video, and that might be helpful if you're interested in a certain yarn, but it also really helps me to, you know, grow this and to maintain all of this, because it is some work. And as I mentioned in the beginning, I have a new camera gear here that I hope is going to be very nice and pleasant. But you know, all of these things do take up some work, and so I really appreciate if we can grow this channel, and you know, if I can have a little bit of recognition in the YouTube bubble. And yeah, sorry for the little plug here, but you know, it is what it is, and it's always nice to grow and, you know, have the work rewarded back. So, but so far about my matcha jumper, I have one more work in progress to share with you. So, my last project that I want to share with you today is another test knit, crazy I know, that I'm doing for Marie-Eve Wedge of In Her Skein, which is her Instagram handle, and these are the Linaria socks. These are knitted in oversock, and I'm using 2 colors in like a natural rosy brownish tone, and the pattern features this very interesting Estonian inlay technique that I think is just very fun to work actually. And so this is the Estonian inlay technique that was used for this sock, and it's just a lot of fun to knit, I have to say. Like, it's really fun. And I can't wait to continue on this, because yeah, now that my matcha jumper is going to be too big to carry around easily. I think this is going to be my go-to traveling back and forth project. I am still working on my floats with the Estonian inlay technique, so bear with me if they don't look so perfect actually. But yeah, I think it's a lot of fun to make, and I generally really enjoy to learn new techniques with new patterns. So this is the first time I'm doing this type of technique. Oh, by the way, it's also on the back, so there are two, like it's on both sides. And I'm just always really excited about these kind of things when I can learn a new technique. And this definitely is challenging me a bit in a way that I'm a bit struggling to hold, like to get a feeling for the tension of these little floats, because they are supposed to be visible, and it kind of works like reverse color work in theory. And yeah, I'm kind of still practicing. Probably the second sock will look tons better because then I'll have a bit more practice. But yeah, so far I'm quite happy, and I'm also really happy with the color combination of these two shades. So I really like the kind of brown rusty shades with the pink, kind of spring-like in my color palette. So yeah, really enjoying that, and yeah, can't wait to continue on it. I'm definitely going to bring that one as well as my matcha jumper on my upcoming trip to Cologne for the H&H fair, which is a craft fair, I believe, in Cologne, and I attend that one every year for a day, just to meet some people and, you know, catch up with some of you. So if you're there, I don't know when this video is going to be up, but if you're there and it is up already and you see it, then feel free to say hi. And yeah, I just thought it's nice for you to have a little episode up before I leave, so you have something to watch in case you're not there, and a little update from me about this. I guess for the last section, I'm going to tell a bit about my upcoming cast-on plans. So for my next cast-on, I kind of I'm giving in on the trend. I'm sometimes a bit hesitant and in working things that are currently seeming to be blowing up trend-wise on social media. It's not like an anti-trend kind of feeling or anything, but most of the time I don't get it. Maybe I'm just strange, but most of the time I just don't understand it. However, in this case, there is a trend going on all around the Sophie patterns by testknits, and especially the Sophie hood has caught my eye quite a bit, because I'm apparently as you can see, I have quite a bit of hair, and I really want to have something for, you know, colder days when it's not really warm enough to go out with wet hair, because as we all know, it's not good to go out with wet hair when it's cold. And I also don't want to, you know, wear my hair down or wear it, you know, I kind of want to be flexible. I think the Sophie hood would serve a really good purpose for me. And I could wear it even when my hair is, you know, in a bun or in a ponytail, which is quite nice, which I can't do with hats usually, just because it doesn't work. And so I think I want to make a Sophie hood next also, because there is, you know, some traveling on my schedule for the next weekends, because yeah, not only am I in Cologne this weekend, but I'm also traveling next weekend, which is going to be really cool. And I'm going to hope to take you along a little bit and share some things at some point. But it's really exciting. However, I'm going to be in trains for a bit. And so I kind of need a travel-friendly project that also, just to be on the safe side, should be kind of socially friendly, because I might be with people and I might be chatting, and it's nice to have something that you can just mindlessly knit on, I think, in this case. And yeah, I just hope that the Sophie hood will serve the purpose after I finish the body section of my matcha jumper. So yeah, I'm planning on using nurture for this one again, but I'm not really sure yet. However, I'm really looking forward to casting this on. If you have any more recommendations about specifically shawl patterns that are relatively mindless and, you know, more on the minimalist kind of side, not too crazy lace pattern stuff, then feel free to comment them below, because I'm actually looking for more travel projects, because I'm going to travel a lot this year, and I also wanted to have a few more shawl samples because I realized that I very rarely knit shawls and I kind of want to change that. And I think for traveling they are also perfect, because it might not always be enough to have a sock project, as they might be finished too quickly if you're gone for more than just a couple of days. So I kind of wanted a shawl because it still usually is staying quite portable in comparison to a sweater or something. And it still is a bit more to knit than a pair of socks. So yeah, if you have any shawl pattern recommendations, please leave them down below. I'm super curious, and I always love to have your input on what's going on, because even though I do browse Ravelry and Instagram and try to keep up with new releases and, you know, have a good overview, there is too much going on, and you can't have an overview of everything. So I'm always super grateful if you give me some input. And it's also helpful because I know what is interesting for you, and yeah, I can also kind of use that for my sample knitting plans. So it's always very helpful. But I guess, yeah, that is it for today's episode. So let me wrap up this episode for you. Thank you so much for watching if you stuck until the end. I know it's also a rather long and chatty one, but I'm so happy for all of your feedback recently, and that you said you are happy to see more episodes, even though if I don't have something new to share in every episode, because yeah, apparently I don't knit full time, so I don't have something new to share every time. But I try to still keep it interesting. And if you have something in particular that you're curious about, always feel free to leave me a comment below so I can potentially accommodate for that. And yeah, until then, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day and happy knitting. Bye.